Let's use this image here, which I've just downloaded from a very useful site called DeviantArt, which you'll find if you do a search through Google. It's basically a site that supplies lots of images for practice purposes and for using as your desktop wallpaper. Anyway, that's DeviantArt. And we're going to use this. I'm in here in Photoshop CS3 to discuss dodging and burning, which traditionally comes from the darkroom. Using the light of the enlarger over the print, you either blocked light from hitting the print, which would darken areas of the print, and if you exposed certain areas of the print to more light, that was known as burning, which will brighten parts of the image. Now you've got some equivalent digital tools here. We've got the burn tool, as you can see there. The dodge tool here would brighten the print, and the burn tool would darken the print. Now you could do this by copying the background layer, and if I wanted to brighten areas of the image, I'd use the dodge tool. Now you can brighten certain areas, look, the highlights at the top there, or you can choose to brighten the midtones or the shadows. So if I were to take the midtones using this tool, and I'm just going to give myself a bigger brush, and you can do that here, or you can right click and give yourself a larger brush, or you can use the right and left square bracket keys on the keyboard, which is the way I tend to do it. Anyway, I have the dodge tool, and you can see that as I click and run the mouse over there, then this area is now brightening. I'll show you a before and after. That's before, that's after. So you can do conversely the same with the burn tool. Let's say we want to burn some of the shadows. I'll give myself a larger brush, and there we go. That's drastic. If you are going to use this method of just copying the background layer, then I would highly recommend, whether you're dodging or burning, that this value, the strength of what you're doing, shouldn't be above 10. You want to build this up very, very gradually, and take your time and just work by hand, and as I say, a strength never above 10, and just do it gradually. However, there is another way and a better way to do this. The problem with this method is, as you can see, I've really brightened the area of this rock here with the dodge tool. But if I want to then undo that and go over it again with the burn tool, and so I'm burning, darkening the highlights now, you'll see that you'll struggle. It doesn't quite work in reverse. Let me just work on a lower opacity here. It just doesn't have the same effect. You can't brighten an area and then decide that you've gone too far and then, oh, hang on, I better get the burn tool and darken it. You can see it just really spoils that area of the print. So a much better way to do this is as follows. I'll give myself a new layer. I'm going to fill that. I go to the edit menu and choose fill, and from this menu that pops up here, choose 50% grey. Once you've done that, that will give you a grey layer. Obviously, from the blend modes area here, choose overlay. This basically gives us an invisible layer. There is data on the layer. Because of what's going on, it renders itself invisible. Now all you need to do is use the brush tool with either black in the foreground, which will burn areas of the image, so darken areas of the image, or white. If you switch over to white, you can do that by pressing X on the keyboard, by the way. If you press X on the keyboard, you'll see that you can switch over from white to black, basically. I'm doing that now, pressing X, and you can see the colour switching. So with black in the foreground colour and with a reduced opacity, using the brush at about 20% there, I'll darken areas of this image, and you can see the black being painted on the grey there, and that's very dramatic. But if I decide I've gone too far and I want to go in reverse, in other words to brighten them back up again, I simply switch over to white, and this does work. It works much better, as you can see. there. So just painting white over the areas. So let's do a little bit, not that this image really needs it, but let's do a little bit of dodging and burning. Let's pick up some of the highlights on this image and make them naturally a bit brighter, as if we've got some more sun falling onto those areas. And conversely, I'll press X, switch over to black, and let's darken some of these natural shadowy areas. And a traditional sort of thing that you might do with the burn tool, a very big, is to go all around the edge, which is known as burning in the edges with a very big brush, as I'm doing now. I'm just using a very, very big brush with black and just clipping the edge of the image there, just to give myself this burnt, kind of burns in vignette that darkens all around the edge of the image. I pulled a guide out by mistake there. So you can see this is our dodging and burning layer. We're just adding white or adding black onto this grey layer. But it has the effect, and I'll show you, that's before, that's after, of, as I say, replicating this age-old darkroom technique of dodging and burning. And I'm sure you'll find that very useful.